Have you ever been on a sea cruise or on a ferry ride like this one between Halifax and Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, and had a look at those white containers that you see and wonder what exactly is inside them? In the next few minutes, we're going to go inside a life raft service center and see what's involved in recertifying the life raft. This is a typical life raft repair shop, and in this shop we do work on life rafts for inshore and offshore vessels. The floor of a life raft shop is actually the work surface. So all of the work that we do on life rafts, we do it on the floor, and it's very important to keep the floor in good condition. So it's swept every night. Only certain personnel are allowed access to the floor. And the reason for that is that we don't want any foreign debris to get into the life raft by people tracking it in. This is a typical tool board used for a life raft service shop, and all of the tools here need to be accounted for at the end of each day. So when we put them back on the rack at the end of the day, if there are any missing, then we know there's a possibility that they could be left in a life raft, which is a concern to us. Certain tools that we use in servicing a life raft need to be calibrated, such as this torque wrench. We know that it's calibrated because we see that there's a valid calibration sticker on it, and we record this number on the service documents that we include with the life raft. This is an example of a life raft that we've just received before we do an inspection. So at this point we would check the information on the raft and record it coming in the door. This is the life raft after it's taken from the container, so we do an initial inspection on it to determine whether it needs to be condemned or not. So it's at this point that we have a quick look at it, and if it is going to be condemned, we will physically cut the serial number tag from the life raft so it can no longer be used. Now we're going to do the physical inspection of the raft. We're going to look at each part of the raft and record it step by step. This is the boarding ramp for a life raft, so we're going to look at the integrity of the boarding ramp area. Next we're going to inspect the floor. We're going to check for integrity, and we'll also check the buoyancy seam as well. The next part we're going to look at is the buoyancy arch. We're going to check the arch for integrity. We're also going to look at the interior canopy. The canopy is made of an interior and an exterior part. And over here we have a drinking tube. Actually, this is a straw that allows you to collect drinking water in the outside of the canopy and allows you to drink the water that's caught by rainwater. One of the things that larger life rafts have are paddles. So we have a set of paddles over here. Life rafts have an insulated floor. We try to keep as much heat in as possible. So again, this is one of the things that we check is the integrity of the floor. And the boarding ladder is attached at one particular point, and the ladder goes out to the boarding ramp, allows you to enter the raft completely. One of the things that we do when we're doing a life raft inspection is we inflate the life raft and make sure it keeps its inflation for a certain length of time at a certain pressure. And we also do visual checks at this time as well. And look, there's even a window. Another thing that we check is the lifeline and the sea anchor. The next thing we're going to look at is the inflation system for the life raft. It consists of at least one, maybe two tanks, depending on the size of the raft, as well as hoses and valves. The triggering of a life raft for inflation is done by the inflation valve head, which is located at the top of the cylinder. And as you can see, we have a couple of different valves that we use. Inside the life raft, you're going to find two large kits. The first one is going to have a pump. It's going to have some rain gear. It will have another package with fishing kit, flashlight, glue to repair your life raft, various types of flares, a second sea anchor, some food for the people that are in the life raft, first aid kit, and in the second bag is containers of water for several days. Vessels that go beyond 20 miles offshore get a SOLAS life pack, which is much more detailed than the survival pack that goes on inshore vessels. This is a container service shop. This is where we remove all the markings from the container and prep it. It's basically a body shop for the life raft containers. They're going to be at sea for a couple of years, so we want to make sure they're in good condition. This is an example of a condensed cylinder. Sometimes when we open up the life raft container, it's been at sea for a few years, and this is what we see. The next stage of the process is the packing stage. So the tank has been reinstalled onto the life raft, the container has been refurbished, and now all we have to do is fold the life raft and put it back into the container. The folding process is quite complicated, and for a large life raft it can take up to an hour to get everything back into the container. One of the final things that we do when the life raft has been packed is to put all the stickers in place. So these are labels and stickers that indicate that the life raft has been inspected and it's up to code. So if the vessel has been inspected by the Coast Guard, they know that the inspection is up to date. And finally, one of the last things that we do is complete the paperwork that goes with the life raft. And this stays with us, and we also send some paperwork to the customer that includes the history of the life raft and inspection records. So there you have it. We've looked at all the major steps involved in recertifying a life raft. I've left out some of the technical details, such as making data recordings, just to keep the video simple. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.